Hey everybody, welcome to another video. This time is the Neca Alien vs Predator, the Predator Hunter from the arcade game. Gotta honestly say, I did this video before. It's a little frustrating because I lost a bunch of videos, and I've been trying to hunt down and fix and salvage what I can, but it turns out can't salvage any of that. So there's a bunch of lost footage somewhere in the world. But here I am redoing this one because I very much like this toy a lot, and I had a little free time, so I wanted to just redo it. I managed to save a little bit of the older photos while doing some newer ones too, so hopefully you guys will enjoy. Anyway, jumping into the video. These were hella fun when I first got them. They're actually still a bunch of fun. There are little things that are confusing about them, and I'll get into that in a second. But gotta honestly say, if you are a fan of the arcade game, if you are a fan of just really cool toys and just really cool predators, this may be a thing for you because it's also easily customizable. Now, let's jump into the articulation and the look. Now, these guys actually use the AVP Ultimate, well, they use the new Ultimate body. Sorry, because the AVP bodies are slightly different and use a little bit more of the movie motif, while these guys capture the overall look of just predators in general that kind of come in the comics and otherwise. This has a side pauldron armor on each side. This one is actually very soft plastic and movable, so you can actually move this pauldron around. The hair is very soft and nice, movable, easily swayable. Then you have your backpack for your plasma caster here, and I'll jump into that. And the sculpt on these guys are really nice. Now, articulation on the head is actually pretty nice. I need to actually raise up my piece because I figured we want a little bit more room, right? There we go. Now, this head articulation is pretty dope because you can actually look, ooh, went a little too far. But you can actually look pretty far up on this guy before you do what I just did. And even with the hair, you get a lot of movement. Now, I went a little too excessive, and now I'm trying to find that ball groove. There we go. So you can actually raise them up about this high, which looks pretty far up. And then looking down, because most people are smaller than a predator, looking down is actually very easy for this guy. Even if you want to look across or look down, it's very easily done. Our arm can come all the way up, even with the pauldrons here. We have bicep swivel. We have a double jointed arm. And we have wrist gauntlet rotation. Our ball joint is on a hinge here, so it goes up and down. Ooh, and mine is actually a little bit different. We have that wrist blade here in the way that won't let you get full articulation, but enough. Let's sway this hair to the side. Even on this side, the pauldron comes up a little. That allows for movement on the arm. Arms, again, double jointed on both sides. We have our self-destruct device right here. And we have our standard wrist peg rotation and wrist gauntlet movement. Now, the upper torso part is actually a lot of fun because you can actually slide it forward. You can go a little far backwards. You can tilt side to side. And this is where you get your crazy articulation in this midsection because you also get that lower rotation as well too. The legs roll up and they go outward. All soft plastic, so you don't have too much to worry about. There is a thigh swivel. Legs are double jointed. And the feet get actually pretty decent ball joint rotation. Now, here's where I got to have fun because you get to do stuff like this because there's a lot of free movement in the armor. What it is that you can actually do those really cool comic book scenes or stuff you see on the covers with this guy. And I really, really like this kind of stuff. I mean, it's not Spider-Man or anything like that. But when you see Predators do really cool stuff in the comics, you always kind of want to recreate that stuff. And this guy can do it, pretty much. It's really cool to get this level of range on a Predator. I've always hoped for this, and this is why I like stuff like this. Because you get to be a little different. Get to try something different. And as you can see here, even with stuff like this, voila, posed up, looking really fantastic. I love stuff like this. Absolutely adore it. So this is why I have a lot of fun with these toys. And as my boy Junior would say, the fun factor is through the roof. Now, I do want to talk about the accessories. And I'm a little confused by only one thing. And it's really only one thing. But I do want to cover the wrist blade. It does pull out. And it extends. So you already have a built-in weapon here. And I think I pulled it a little too far down, so let's go back up. There we go. So we do have our wrist gauntlet blades. They look fantastic on this guy. We actually get a machine gun weapon from the arcade game for when you want to shoot aliens. It slides right into the hand. It looks good in it. And you can put the weapon down as well. you actually get a smart disc to be thrown. Now, here's the part that upsets me. The smart disc is meant for the right hand, but there is no technical hand that holds his smart disc. So unless you have another predator who you can swap hands or repaint it with, he can't actually hold his smart disc. It can, though, however, be stored here on the side. So if you wish to store his smart disc in there, you totally can. I've done it numerous amounts of times, and I'm probably going to have trouble doing it now, but the smart disc does fit in there, and voila. But I'm a little frustrated right now, so I'm not going to take the time to do that. Because I really wanted a hand to show him executing the throwing of the smart disc, so it sucks that it doesn't have that. In that very same hand, when he holds the gun, he can also hold his lance. This is the arcade version of the combi stick. It's very nice. You have a short blade and a much larger blade on the opposite side, used for dual welding, but he only comes with one hand that holds things, so he can't do the dual welding. Instead, you have this one open hand for when you are firing the gun. He can go like this and pretty much hold it with two hands, just like in the arcade game. So that is pretty cool. But the shortness of the non-extra hands kind of suck. But overall, for a $3 figure, I think you actually get a lot more bang for your buck, which is still pretty dope. Now, we're going to jump into size comparisons because I really enjoy this guy. And even with his shortcomings, it's just one of those things I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just something that I would have wanted. One more thing I did forget, though, is his plasma caster. So again, even if you don't have all of that, you still have your handy-dandy backpack rocket launcher, or energy blaster in this case. You want to start by going through the bottom, sliding it up, and making sure it fits on top, and voila. Now we have our plasma caster. This is adjustable as well. Please be careful, because I hear a lot of people's break in packaging, so that kind of suck. But overall, I mean, mine was fun. I have a few of these guys, so yeah. In any case, it is what it is, right? Now we're going to jump into the size comparisons. Most predators are actually pretty much bigger than everybody else. We already know that. But let's see how they stack up with other predators. First up, we have the Mad Predator, also from the series. He's the bad guy for, well, one of the bosses for these guys. Then we have the Predator Warrior, which is the younger of the two. He's also really cool. As you can see, these guys all pretty much stack up close, if not just around the same height with each other. Mad being slightly shorter, and that could be because his legs are a little bit further apart, but I think it's really because overall he might be slightly just a bit shorter. Next up, we're going to do the Serpent Alien Hunter, and I'm going to do him because he uses the older body, and I really want you guys to see the difference between the older body and the new Ultimate body. So you can see these guys are a little bit bigger, and that's because of that extra boot too as well. But he's just a tad bit bigger. Next up, we're going to do a Mythic Legions Orc. And I still forgot to get rid of that damn sword. Anyway, that is a custom head by Old Boy, for those of you that are going to ask. Next up, we have a Lightning Collection Blaze. Then we're going to do an SH Figure Arts Kamen Rider Cougar. Now you can see just how tiny everyone is next to a Predator. Next up, we have an Articulated Icons Ninja. Then we're going to do a Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. Did I do 1,000? Nope, didn't do it yet. Here's 1,000 Toys Carve. And I think last but not least, before we do aliens, we're going to do a Mezco Me on a Go Mez Bobby. Voila. Now we're going to do some aliens. I'm going to need a little bit of room for that. And I'm going to use the arcade Alien vs. Predator aliens. I think that was the best bet here. Here he is with Razor Claws. You can see Razor Claws definitely is taller than him. Definitely has the height. Next up, we have Chrysalis, which I'm going to stand straight up, even though he's usually seen on hunched over. So even Chrysalis has height over the Predators. And this guy is hard to stand right now. There we go. Voila. See, those guys are gigantic as well, too. Last but not least, we're going to do Arachnoid. who, again, he was one of the ones that I lost as far as filming as well too. So it kind of sucks, but hopefully I can get around to redoing his as well too. And then lastly but not least, we have Arachnoid, who definitely stole the show by knocking everything down, which I did not expect to happen. His tail kind of caught wind of everything. So let's fix that. Oop. Ryan, wherever you are watching this, just know I didn't mean to do that on purpose. I still love you, dog. There we go. So Arachnoid with his really long but short tail ended up being the one knocking everything down. And here he is next to a predator as well too. And as you can see, he is also pretty much taller, which is crazy. So all the aliens pretty much outgo the predators in terms of height. But, you know, things are things. I've really enjoyed this piece. I've had a lot of fun with it. And it's been quite some time. And it still holds up as a lot of fun. So it's really cool to kind of revisit this. And I've always wanted to do this anyway, where I go back and revisit stuff. So it's cool to be able to do that. If you've missed out on these, I think you should still give one a shot. I think the AVP bodies are probably the dopest, biggest bodies, but the ultimate body definitely gives you a lot of fun when there's room to show off that movement, and that's dope. In the meantime, guys, hope you enjoyed, hope you found it informative, and as always, be good, do good, drink your water. Later.